Welcome everyone, welcome back to the Liquid FX YouTube channel. Here we're going to be going over my outlooks for the next upcoming week of the euro dollar and the GBP USD. So here we're going to start with the euro dollar and we're on the daily time frame. So the daily time frame here represents basic levels of structure. So if I just start marking out how I am looking at structure here at Liquid FX, it's going to be very simple. So we have a high up here. So the black dots will annotate daily structural highs and lows. So we have a structural high, a structural low, structural high, structural low, structural high, and we've had a break of structure. So we have a structural low over here. So this is how I've marked out my daily structure on euro dollar. And now it's important to understand our most recent dealing range. So our most recent dealing range is we have a break of structure over here. So this last low has been broken. And since then it has been, we have not yet determined our bullish structure. So we're currently dealing between this swing low and this swing high. So we have a swing high up here and a swing low all the way down here. So this represents our chart, our dealing range. So swing high, swing low, and a dealing range. So what's the next thing we need to depict in this picture? Is that we have a premium up here. So if I label this premium and I label this discount. Okay, if I can just spell. So discount. So that being said, now that we've marked out our structure, our dealing range, our premium and discount, where do we go to next as traders? The next thing we need to identify is where our current fair value gaps are in price. So if I zoom in and if I bring your attention to this zone over here, we have a fair value gap just above here, sitting in deep premium. So just below the structural high, pretty much at the extreme premium. So this is a D1 or daily fair value gap. So a fair value gap represents an area on the price chart we could be looking to target later on. And what makes this a valid fair value gap or POI is the fact that it's in the premium zone over here. So that being said, what we need to understand is that we have a premium zone that's left a fair value gap. Price will look to rebalance the fair value gap at some point in the future. Now, if we go down to the discount, what do we see over here? We've seen price react bullishly off this zone over here. So we had price leave a fair value gap in the discount, which makes it a valid demand zone or a valid POI according to our rules here at Liquid FX. So here we have a daily fair value gap or a daily POI. This has been tapped into, right? We tapped into it on the 14th of February, and the second half of February has been pretty much bullish. We've seen price react bullishly as we expect. So from here, what's my general outlook here on the daily time frame? We're going to be looking more at higher time frame and how we can use basic concepts, ICT concepts, dealing ranges, premium and discounts, and fair value gaps to see what I think Eurodollar is likely to do. So now that we've reacted off a discount, so we understand we have a discount over here. With this discount, we expect price to trade from discount to premium. Now, one thing I want to draw to your attention is the fact that we do have a daily fair value gap over here as well. So it's unlikely, in my opinion, but price could head lower and tap this demand zone also, right? This demand zone over here is also valid. But now that we've reacted off here, this daily fair value gap in the discount, we trade from discount to premium. So this is something I was going over with members at Liquid FX, is the idea of why does price move up in the first place? Now, price moves up for two reasons. There's two reasons why price moves up. The first reason is that it seeks inefficiencies, right? It seeks to fill fair value gaps. Fair value gaps, right? It fills fair value gaps. And the second reason is to target BSL or buy side liquidity, right? These are the two reasons why price will move up, right? This is what drives price. Filling fair value gaps and targeting buy side liquidity or BSL for short. So with that being said, let's dissect price and let's see how we can use this knowledge to our advantage, right? We have a liquidity pool over here, trendline liquidity that's formed. This is external range liquidity or simply trendline liquidity. And we have a daily fair value gap over here, but we also have a fair value gap over here. Both lie in the premium. Okay, so if I mark that out for people, we have this fair value gap or this POI or this daily fair value gap zone, whatever you want to call it, in this region over here. So with that being said, we have a narrative and a reason for higher prices on this chart, right? It's to head higher, sweep this liquidity, and target at least this fair value gap over here. Then from here, we reassess, okay? So if I just notch down one more time frame, let's go to the 4-hour time frame and let's see how we can dissect the markets over here. So again, we have our dealing range. Now our dealing range is very simply from this high down to this low. Okay, now we understand we're in a discount, right? We're below the 50% level, so we're in a discount. So if I label this for people to understand, this is a discount, okay? And anything above the 50% level becomes a premium, okay? So with that being said, let's see how we can dissect price. So above the 50% level, we have fair value gaps, POIs, areas that leave fair value gaps. This is the first one that leaves a fair value gap. So a fair value gap is where we are looking to target as traders in our analysis. And we have a second fair value gap all the way up here, which I won't label because it's a bit far away. So with that being said, we have a fair value gap here in the premium to target. And so what I expect here at Liquid FX is very simply for price to trade higher up to this zone. And this is my overall narrative. Now from here, I don't expect price to hold. I expect price to continue higher. And this is using basic concept of trading from discount to premium, targeting areas of liquidity and targeting areas of fair value gaps. Okay, so just to zoom out one more time to the daily time frame, I expect price to get up to this region over here, sweeping all of this buy side liquidity. So that's my outlooks in euro dollar. Now, if we go to pound dollar, GBPUSD, we can begin to analyze the price action in more or less the same way, where what we have over here is we have our dealing range. So we have a dealing range from this swing low up to this swing high. So let's zoom into price and see how we can analyze price in a bit more detail. So we're in a region now where we have this swing high up here that hasn't really made a swing low, and therefore this fair value gap is our next target. So we have a daily fair value gap above us in this region. So that's the first thing to identify. We have a daily fair value gap. Now the daily fair value gap is pretty simply an area that price has left inefficiencies and we look to target it at a later date. So I expect price to head up to here because we have sell side imbalance. Now what do we have over here that we could look to target? What was this called? This is a trendline phantom, or it's very simply buy side liquidity that price would also look to target as we get to the daily fair value gap. Okay, so let's notch down one more time frame and see how I'm looking at this price chart. Now this price chart is quite interesting, right? We have buy side liquidity just below us, but we also have a fair value gap over here. Now the thing to understand is that we're trading near the equilibrium. So we have a swing high and a swing low. We're trading at the equilibrium level. So this is our equilibrium level, our 50% level, just over here. This is our 50% level. This is our equilibrium, or the EQ for short. Now, what should we do when price is near the EQ? Price is pretty much at the EQ. So what should we do? Should we buy or should we sell? Well, the answer is neither. You want to wait for price to get into a solid discount, right? Sweeping some buy side liquidity before buying, or you want to wait for price to get to a firm premium before potential sells. You don't want to be trading in the middle. You don't want to be trading in the EQ. This is a good way to avoid losses. Avoid trading. Avoid trading at the EQ, right? So GBP USD overall, my narratives on the daily time frame are for prices to head higher up to this level. Now it's important to understand we could see price rally down potentially before heading higher. So we could see something like this, or what's more likely is we could just see price continue higher. So these are my two narratives in price, but overall I'm targeting this daily fair value gap at roughly 1.305. So for those who use numbers a lot, 1.305 is my overall target for GBP USD on the daily. And if we switch back to the euro dollar time frame, my initial narrative going into next week is around the 1.0935 level. 1.3 1.09325 level, right? So I hope this video helps. Give it a like, give it a thumbs up, share it with people as well. Let's get the Liquid FX brand out there and let's bring ICT concepts simplified to you.